So it's the next day and we're in the shop, and I've got the seat over there on the table, and I'm gonna go ahead and mock the rails up and get them actually spaced correctly so that I can get my measurements for the bar I'm gonna be cutting and putting the holes in, and then mounting it to the actual vehicle. But before I do that, we have stray cats here, and those stray cats get fed by one of our, it's actually by my sister-in-law. She works for us. She's asked me to make a home for those cats because right now the food gets wet when it snows and when it rains. So I'm going to take this old container, I'm going to go ahead and cut a opening out of it so that the cats can be dry and get fed and do all that stuff. I'm going to do that before I actually get to the seeds. It's only going to take me a second. Alright, mission complete, cat house done, onto the seats. So the brackets are done and they are drying right now. So I'm not going to put them on the chair as of yet until those are actually finished and completely dried up. And I can't remember if the passenger side on the Alfa Romeos is the same as the driver side on the Alfa Romeos. So I don't want to make an exact same bracket as the one I just made and then find out that the measurements are off and that the fronts are a little spaced a little different, which on a lot of cars they are. I'm going to wait for that to dry. I'm going to put it on this seat. I'm going to get this seat in, and then I'll move on to the passenger side.
these are custom fitted brackets?
These are custom made.
Mm. This is not working.
Need more spacers. Is this. So without the spacer between here and here, which I thought I'd get away with it, without the spacer in between there, I can't get this in. Even if I get it in, it'll still bang against that. So I've got to space that out. I got to space the bracket. And I've got spacers, but I didn't buy enough of them. I need another set.
Too bad you don't have a super hot wife to go run an errand for you.
I need space needs to be same space as this head. Needs to be that space. Essentially, it's one of these. Alright guys, so like with anything that you have to modify, which this is one of those things, these seats are from China, they're not built specifically for the Alfa. They say they fit the Alfa, but they also say they fit probably an F-150 or something else crazy. So with that being said, the issue is with the bolts being so close, with the holes being so close for the adaptation, is I have to space this out or else I can't get the bolt in there, and even if the bolt would go in there, the slider would hit it and then it would bind up. So I have to space that out. And when I space that out, I have to extend these bolts right here so that they actually fit. And then I've got to do a spacer on the lower two so that these bolts don't hit the floor. That's my conundrum right now. And I'm out of time today, so I have to go pick up that hardware for these seats so that I can space it, lift up the seats, get everything where they're supposed to sit, and have everything fit the way it's supposed to fit. I'm going to leave today. I'm going to go pick up my daughter because she's at daycare right now. And then tomorrow morning, I'm going to knock this thing out. I'm going to have the whole day tomorrow. Today I had some meetings and some other things that I had to do. But tomorrow I'm going to have the whole day. And tomorrow, this car's interior is done. Alright, see you tomorrow. Welcome back guys, it's the next day. And I have all the hardware that I need necessary to complete these seats. Now, there's going to be several sets of spacers, but I'm not concerned with it because these seats sit really, really low. So the height that I'm adding is a little less than an inch in height. And because of the way these seats are designed, I already test fitted them, and you sit pretty low in the car, so it's not going to affect height. And then the other thing is, I used 1/4-inch steel brackets, so the flex is non-existent. And where the point of pivot is so close to the original mounting point that there's absolutely none at all. This is what I have so far. You kind of saw it yesterday. I'm just going to extend this bracket and I'm going to bring it down so that I can actually get a bolt in there and mount these seats. That's it. Let's go. Alright everybody, seats in. It fought me the entire way. It's always that last bolt. On anything you do, it's that last stupid bolt. So I actually had to go with one of the original bolts, one of the lower profile bolts, in order to get it in. It sits exactly how I want it to. It's a little bit high, but my head was always almost touching the ceiling on this car, the roof on this car anyways, because I'm 6'2", and I'm actually like long torsoed and short legged. That's one in. I'm going to adjust some things for the next one because this thing was a pain, and there's a few things I can adjust to make it not what this was. I'm gonna go ahead and start doing the other seat and get that one in, and then the only other thing is just the arm upholstery, and that should be it for the interior other than bolting a bunch of stuff up. Alright. Hey guys, so here's what I've been doing off camera. I had to pull the door apart because this regulator wasn't working. It was just spinning freely, so the gears actually weren't touching. I found a couple things. One, when you want to remove these, there is a little screw, I don't know if you can see that, inside the knob itself. And you have to remove that because that actually goes into the cog. Or what I found is happening, or happened to this, is it's a brass casing, or some sort of golden metal, and it expanded. And when it expanded, it stopped compressing the mech, and then the mech was free to move. And then when it was free to move, it just wouldn't engage the gears. So I pulled the whole door off, and here's the dilemma. Of course, like with anything else, these two bolts came off fine. The last bolt did not come off fine. So the last bolt decided that it wasn't going to budge, and the other side's pressed in, and what happened is the other side started spinning. I had to grind that bolt off, and now what I have to do is I have to drill out that bolt and then go ahead and replace it with just a regular nut and bolt to bring that thing back into play. The mech actually works now. The window goes up and down. Before you could get it to, but you had to kind of had to shove the handle in to get the gears to move, and so it was kind of a pain, and I don't want the next person who owns it having to do the same thing. I will go ahead and find a nut and bolt that fit this. I will tap out this, I'll drill out this, and then I'll go ahead and replace that, and that should fix this door. And then it's onto the other seat. But I just had to make sure that this functioned correctly. So the door is back together, and the window goes up and down like it's supposed to. What I had to do was I actually had to brace the bracket itself because it kept wanting to separate. I had to put a bolt and a nut that actually compressed it to where it needed to be in order for the two gears to engage each other. So it took a little bit of time, but everything works great now. Got the door back together. I pulled this section back off because I'm not too happy with the way it upholstered, and I think it's just because of the glue I used. I just don't think it was strong enough, so it's kind of letting go. So I pulled the other door upholstery off as well, and I'll be doing both of them at the same time. They're actually over there on the shelf. I'll cut some pieces out. I'll get better adhesive, so that I'm not going to do today. The other issue I have is on this side, there's this, and this is one of the brackets that the actual chair goes to. And if you look, the only way they attach these and give it to Italian engineering are these two like pop rivets, and I'm guessing they almost look like just contact welds or something. But I mean, that's it. Boom, 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 boom. And you can actually see where it let go right there. So I've got to figure out a way to put this back in place so that it actually is structurally sound and will hold the chair. So I don't know whether I want to weld it, but it means I got to plot all the carpet for that to be done. I don't want to plot all the carpet, especially since I just got that other seat in, and that thing was a pain in the butt. What I may end up doing is actually bolting this in place. I'll probably weld a bracket across this, so just across right here across the 2 points. I'll just weld, drill a hole in that, bolt that to the floor itself, and then bolt the chair to it. That's what I'm going to end up doing. That's what I'm going to start fabricating right now, and I think it'll work just fine. It's just going to take a little bit. So the new bracket is welded and painted, and now it's just drying, and then I'm going to go ahead and just drill a hole through the bottom of it, drill a hole through the vehicle itself, so that I can put a bolt through and mount it. But that should be structurally, that should be perfect. Alright, so the remedy to the problem, if you look, I mean, if it may be hard to see, that's all Flex Seal. These cars are notorious for getting water through the roof, so I want to make sure that everything that I expose as far as metal is covered with some sort of rubberized coating or something. So what happened was I drilled through, and I didn't even think about it, but there's a subfloor. This doesn't go all the way through. What you have to do is you'd have to go through two layers. So instead, what I did was I went ahead and drilled a hole to the size of a grade 8 bolt, and then sunk the grade 8 bolt and welded it in place. So that's what that is right now, and I'll get a bolt and I'll show you. It's hard to see, but it screws right in now to it. I'm still waiting for the other piece to dry, but once it does, I'll go and lay it here, bolt it in, and then I can actually start doing my measurements and bolt in the next seat. Alright, mount is in. And you move the car with the mount, so I'd say that's pretty much in there. It was, I think it'll be stronger than the original with just the 4-point tabs, but I've got a metric bolt just right in there bolting it to the actual nut that I welded in. I didn't wait long enough for the paint to dry, so as soon as I started drilling a hole in it for the mount, it started to melt. But it's really not going to matter because you're not even going to see it, it's just the mounting point. So now it's time to measure and get the seats in. So guys, that's going to end this episode. Well, let's just go over what I got done. So I got the window regulator fixed, the original one, redid the bracket, remade it, secured it so that it actually engaged the gears. So I went ahead and did that, got the seats in with all the new brackets in place. So it fully functions back and forth, does everything it's supposed to do. So the other thing we did was went ahead and welded in that new bracket. I think that's it. It's getting late. Just the fabrication took more time than I thought it was going to. But that's going to end this episode. Next episode, I'll get the next brackets in for these seats, so custom make those. But I think that's going to be it for the things that I'm running into where it's actually causing me issue, or where I actually had to troubleshoot it, because I think the rest is actually going to be pretty evident when it needs to be done. Those things were just the time-consuming things, the things that I had to actually problem solve and figure out how to fix. Other than that, turn heads every single day, and have a good one.